He discovered his wife hurting their little girl. 3 heartwarming choices revealed a life-changing truth. Mike stood in the dim light of the garage, the smell of dust and old paint swirling in the air around him. He was a devoted husband, a loving father, and all-around good guy who believed in family above all else. But as he rummaged through a forgotten box filled with childhood trinkets, his heart dropped. Nestled between a broken toy and a dusty baseball glove were crumpled notes, each adorned with colorful doodles from his bright-eyed daughter, Lily. They were meant for Jessica, his wife, sweet messages from an innocent heart that radiated love. But what twisted his gut were the bruises he noticed around Lily's small arms in the faint light, shadows of confusion and despair creeping into his mind. His perfect world felt like it was crumbling, every drawing a painful reminder that something was amiss. Mike had always prided himself on communication with his family. What was he missing? Was his sweet Lily, with her laughter that filled their sunny backyard, suffering beneath the surface? Thoughts raced through his mind as he held each crumpled note, a mixture of heartbreak and anger boiling within. Something wasn't right, and he needed answers. The next morning, the vibrant colors of spring felt dull under the weight of his discoveries. Memories of laughter and joyous family dinners floated around him like specters. He weighed his choices like gold coins sinking to the bottom of a well. Should he reach out to community leaders, a network of friends who could shine a light in this darkened place? Or was it time to confront Jessica herself? A pang of loyalty tugged at his heart, yet how could he protect Lily while navigating the storm of anger toward his wife? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The conversation played in his head over and over, each moment of silence expanding into nothingness as he prepared to confront Jessica. Together they'd built a lovely life, or had they? Each memory felt tainted now, shrouded in questions. Sitting across from her at the kitchen table would require facing the truth, a truth like jagged glass. Would they still be able to navigate their troubled hearts and restore faith amidst a whirlwind of buried issues? As Mike's resolve strengthened, he could almost see hope shimmering in the distance. But it beckoned with a hefty price. Facing Jessica meant confronting not just her actions, but the very history that brought them here. Could they rebuild the shattered trust and love that once flourished within their home? Mike's heart raced in uncertainty as he squinted into Jessica's eyes, wondering if this moment would lead to forgiveness or loss. With the future of their family hanging by a thread, was it too late to change the course of their lives? Mike took a deep breath, his pulse quickening as he stepped into the kitchen. The sun streamed through the window, casting a warm glow over the room, but it felt cold to him. Jessica stood near the sink, her back turned as she washed dishes, the clinking of plates echoing like a countdown to a heart-wrenching confrontation. "Jessica," he began, his voice shaky yet steady in its determination. She paused, the soapy sponge halting midair. The silence weighed heavy. Slowly, she turned to face him, her eyes meeting his with a faint hint of apprehension. "What's wrong?" she asked, confusion etched on her features. Mike swallowed hard, the lump in his throat blocking the words he desperately needed to say. He glanced at the table, its surface still scattered with the remnants of their last family meal, the laughter of yesterday forgotten. "Lily," he paused, gathering the courage to continue. "I found some notes of hers. They worried me." A flicker of something crossed Jessica's face, but he couldn't quite rid it. Was it guilt? Fear? "What notes?" she replied, her voice tight. "The ones she wrote for you. They're full of love, but I can't shake the feeling that something else is going on. I saw her arms. There are bruises." For a brief moment, time suspended. Jessica's expression shifted, her eyes clouding over as she processed his words. "Mike, it's not what you think, no." His voice rose, raw emotion spilling out. Don't dismiss me, Jess. I need to know what's really happening. I can't just stand by and pretend everything's fine. Jessica closed her eyes, her defenses rising like a wall between them. I'm trying my best, Mike. You know how hard things have been with work, and with Lily. I get frustrated sometimes. Her words came out in a rush, her tone sharper than the knives on the counter. Frustrated. The word hung in the air, heavy and electric. It cut through Mike like a blade. Frustrated? Jess, that's not an excuse. Our daughter doesn't deserve to feel scared. She should feel safe in her home. Why can't you see that? The tension crackled. Jessica's eyes shimmered with unshed tears, but she held her ground. It's complicated. You don't understand what I'm dealing with. And I'm not supposed to? He stepped forward, emotion pushing him into her space. You're not alone in this. We're a team. We've always been a team, but whatever this is, it's tearing us apart. She turned away, her shoulders trembling. I don't want you to see me like this. Why would you hide from me? You're my wife, the mother of our child. I love you. I want to help you. Jessica sighed, the sound filled with anguish. I don't know how to ask for help. I don't want to be a burden. In that instant, Mike's heart shattered further, realizing how isolated she had felt. How lost she must be. What if we did this together? We can fix this. But you have to be honest with me. Suddenly, the door creaked open and Lily walked in, her innocence lighting up the dim tension. She hesitated, sensing the storm swirling in the kitchen. Mike's heart ached at the sight of his little girl. This was all for her. As they looked at her, the weight of their adult problems fell momentarily away, replaced by the fragile beauty of childhood hope. Mommy? Daddy? Lily's voice was small, barely above a whisper. Can we go to the park? Mike exchanged a glance with Jessica. A silent agreement crystallized between them. They had to put on a brave face, at least for Lily's sake. Of course, honey, Mike replied, forcing a smile onto his face. But as he watched his daughter's eyes light up, a deeper dread settled in his stomach. Was it really that simple to escape the truth? As they prepared to head out, Mike's mind raced with possibilities. He couldn't shake the feeling that a reckoning was looming. Could they truly come together to face the shadows lurking in their family? And what truths would surface when the day was done? The drive to the park felt heavier than usual. Mike's knuckles whitened around the steering wheel as he stole glances at Jessica in the passenger seat. Her silence was louder than any argument they had just had. She stared out a window, and he couldn't help but wonder what thoughts were swirling in her mind. Are you okay? He finally asked, his voice gentle. She blinked, pulling herself from her thoughts. Yeah, I'm fine. Fine? He was careful not to sound accusatory, but frustration bubbled beneath. You don't look fine. I'm tired, Mike. Just tired. Lily, in the back seat, sensed the tension. Are we almost there? She chirped, her excitement a bright spot against the dark atmosphere. Yeah, we're close, honey, Mike replied, forcing a smile. As they parked and stepped onto the playground, the colorful equipment beckoned Lily to run off, her laughter ringing out like music. For a moment, Mike found solace in her joy, wishing he could bottle up her innocence and lock it away from all their troubles. But moments later, the sibling of worry returned, prickling at him. He turned to Jessica, who was watching Lily start to climb the monkey bars. We need to talk more about what I found, he insisted, determined but gentle. I know, I just don't know how. Her voice trembled slightly, betraying her calm exterior. Start by telling me about those bruises. Please. Jessica sighed, rubbing her arms as if they were cold. I promise, it's not what you think. Sometimes she falls, she's just clumsy. Kids get hurt. Not like this. His voice was firm. This has to be more than that. You have to let me help. She glanced away, tears welling in her eyes. I'm scared. Of what? He pressed. Of failing. Of not being a good mother. Mike's heart twisted. You're not failing. You're just struggling. I don't want to drag you down with me. I don't want to feel like a burden. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. But you're not. We're supposed to share these burdens, remember? We're partners. Her gaze flickered to Lily, who was flipping upside down on the monkey bars, squealing with delight. I just thought I could handle it on my own. A part of him wanted to scream for her to wake up, to see how much was at stake. But, deep down, he understood. The pressure to be everything for everyone could drown even the strongest. It's okay to ask for help. I'm right here. Jessica wiped away a wayward tear. And what if I'm the problem? She whispered. Then together we'll find a solution. Lily called out, Mom. Dad. Come watch me. Their daughter's smile broke through the dark clouds, reminding them of the hope that still existed, even amid uncertainty. Mike took Jessica's hand, squeezing it gently. Let us be present with her. For today, let us focus on her joy. As they walked toward Lily, laughter washed over Mike, filling him with warmth. But the shadows were not gone, they lingered, reminding him that the real challenges lay ahead. What would it take for them to break through the walls and face the truth? And the deeper question loomed, could Jessica ever truly admit her fears and reach out for the help she so desperately needed? The sun began to set, casting long shadows over the playground as they joined Lily, who was now spinning in circles with abandon. They needed to embrace this moment, but also prepare for the storm that was on the horizon. What revelations awaited them when the sun dipped below the horizon, and the darkness of night settled in? Lily twirled in dizzying circles, her laughter light and carefree against the backdrop of the fading daylight. Mike felt the brief reprieve tugging at his heart, charm like sunshine on a winter's day. He watched Jessica's face, tension still etched in her features, but momentarily softened by their daughter's innocent joy. Mom, look at me. Lily called out, holding her arms wide, ready to embrace the world. Jessica forced a smile, her eyes glistening. You're so brave, sweetie. But even those words seemed heavy with unspoken weight, Mike's heart sank. Every time Lily gleefully pushed her boundaries, he felt the undercurrents of Jessica's struggle. Maybe you should sit down for a moment, he suggested gently, trying to pull her out of her spiral. I'm fine, she insisted, voice firmer than he had heard in days. Are you? Because I'm not sure keeping up this facade is going to fix anything. He could see the flicker of defensiveness in her eyes, the instinct to shield her pain. I just want to enjoy today. It was a desperate grasp at normalcy, which only fueled Mike's anxiety. Jessica, the name hung in the air, thick with the unsaid. You know more than anyone at this point that ignoring the problem won't make it disappear. I can't. She bit her lip, shaking her head. What if talking just makes everything worse? What if I made a mistake and it all unravels? We've already unraveled, he replied, his tone softened with urgency. Look at Lily. We owe her the truth. We owe each other this chance to heal. Jessica turned her gaze back to their daughter, who was now perched triumphantly atop the monkey bars, her face lit with pure glee. What if I'm not the mom she needs? Mike stepped closer, catching her chin and forcing her to meet his gaze. Then let us figure it out together. It's okay to not have all the answers right now. But we need to start somewhere. Together, she echoed, but the fear was still there, lingering beneath her skin. The weight of the moment rested heavily on them. The shadows from the setting sun enveloped the playground, hovering like uninvited guests. Mike reached for her hand, squeezing it tightly, willing her to find comfort in his presence. As Lily jumped down from the bars, her face flushed with excitement, Mike said, let's get hot cocoa after this. Just a little treat to wrap up the day and maybe we can talk more, without feeling heavy. Jessica hesitated only a moment. Okay, she whispered, as if granting permission to her own heart. Okay? He confirmed. She nodded, finally allowing a small spark of hope to ignite amid the worry. Lily ran back to them, tugging at their hands. Can we go? Can we go? The sweetness in her voice was infectious, and Mike felt a renewed sense of urgency to keep this joy alive, to fan the flames of truth that Mia seemed so scared to bring to life. As they moved toward the parking lot, the three of them like a tiny universe of support, Mike could sense the delicate threads of connection slowly being mended. But still, that nagging question clawed at him: what would happen when the darkness of their truths finally collided with the light they fought so hard to protect? As night fell around them, a phone buzzed in Mike's pocket, a sudden break in the tranquility. He fished it out and read the message, its weight heavy. We need to talk. Something inside him twisted. Who was reaching out now? And was it the antidote to the struggle or another storm brewing? Mike glanced at Jessica and Lily, their faces aglow with naive bliss under the streetlights. He took a deep breath, uncertain what lay ahead, but knowing one thing for sure. The real storm was only starting to gather. As they climbed into the car, the air felt charged, almost electric. Mike glanced at the family in the rearview mirror, Lily bouncing in her seat, still buzzing with excitement. Jessica sat still, her knuckles pale as she gripped the handle above her door. The weight of the message loomed in Mike's mind, casting a shadow over the playful chatter. Mom! Look at my bracelet, Lily exclaimed, twisting her wrist proudly to show off the colorful beads she had made earlier in the day. I call it the rainbow of happiness. Jessica managed a smile, but the light in her eyes felt dimmed, as if she were desperately trying to keep up appearances. It's beautiful, sweetie, she said, her voice teetering between affection and burdened sadness. Mike turned the key in the ignition, the engine humming to life, but the message was still flashing in his mind, demanding attention, pulling him away from the moment. They drove through quiet streets, the glow from street lamps painting soft circles of light against the darkening sky. The juxtaposition of their vibrant day against the tension inside felt surreal, like a dream where everything should feel happy, but an ominous fog loomed. Can we play a game? Lily chirped from the back seat, breaking the silence. How about I spy? Okay, Lily, Mike replied, his voice cheerful but strained. You go first. I spy with my little eye something green. Lily said, her excitement palpable. Green? Is it the trees? Jessica asked, turning briefly to join in. Nope. Lily giggled, hiding a secret only she knew. The back and forth continued, and for a few precious moments, Mike allowed himself to lean into the moment, to remember why they had come to this park in the first place, to create smiles, to bring a sense of joy, but just as quickly, thoughts of the message crept back in. Who could need him so urgently? What was so important that it disrupted their family moment? He squashed down his own anxiety, focusing on Lily's laughter. It was a soothing balm in a storm of restless uncertainty. After a few minutes of playful guessing and giggles, Lily shouted, "Hot cocoa! We're getting hot cocoa!" The mention of their treat filled the car with joy. Jessica's smile widened slightly. First, we should all agree on which flavor chocolate. Dark, milk, or white? I want milk chocolate. Lily shouted, bouncing again in her seat. Milk it is, then. Mike said, feeling a genuine smile tug at his mouth. He glanced at Jessica. This small exchange felt like a step in the right direction, a sliver of light breaking through their shared storm clouds, yet that text still lay in his pocket, weighty and foreboding. What if it was about something they couldn't outrun? Something that would take this fragile moment of happiness and shatter it into a million pieces. As they pulled into the cafe's parking lot, Jessica turned to him, her expression suddenly serious. Mike? Yeah? He could sense the shift in the air, the way tension had returned. I need to talk to you. After we get the cocoa. Her voice shook ever so slightly, a crack in the surface of her composure. "Okay," he said, his heart sank deeper. Lily bounded out of the car, her carefreeness lighting up the autumn evening. But as Mike and Jessica exchanged glances, an unspoken acknowledgement passed between them this evening, though steeped in delight, had the potential to change everything. As they walked into the cafe together, a low hum of conversation filled the air, yet all Mike could hear was the static of uncertainty. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for whatever revelation awaited. What truth awaited them in the comfort of warmth and cocoa? And would it bring them closer as a family or tear them apart? The cafe buzzed with life, the rich scent of coffee mingling with the sweet aroma of pastries that filled the air. Bright lights overhead created a cozy warmth that made Mike feel both comforted and uneasy. He could see Lily's eyes sparkling as she rushed to the counter, her face all anticipation as she pointed to the menu. "Look, Mom. They have marshmallows," she shouted, nearly bouncing on her toes. Jessica and Mike exchanged another look. There was a moment of silence, heavy with unspoken words. Mike felt a churn in his stomach. The vibrant laughter of customers around them felt distant compared to the weight of what might spill from Jessica's lips. "Lily, pick a treat, and I'll order," Mike said, stepping forward slightly. He wanted to put some distance between himself and Jessica, to create a small buffer against whatever was brewing. As Lily scanned the offerings, Jessica found her voice again, but this time it trembled. "Mike, about what I need to tell you I know," he interrupted gently, though his heart raced. "I'm worried too. But let us just get through this moment first." Lily turned, her bright eyes wide with delight as she finally made up her mind. "I want the biggest cocoa with extra marshmallows." "Done," Mike replied, grateful for Lily's innocence, a kind of pure joy that felt like a lifeline amidst rising tension. He turned to order, hoping it would buy him a moment to mentally prepare whatever storm was coming. As he approached the counter, he couldn't shake the growing dread that gnawed at him. The barista greeted him, but Mike found himself unable to focus on the menu. He half listened, lost in thought. Jessica, standing just behind him, watched as he smiled at the barista, pretending everything was fine. When the order was done, he turned back to see Jessica watching Lily with an expression that sent chills down his spine. There was something fragile in her gaze, something he couldn't quite pinpoint. "Hey, everything all right?" he asked, trying to lighten the mood. "Yeah," she replied, but her voice was small, and the lie hung in the air. They found a table, and Lily settled in with her hot cocoa, the marshmallows floating like little clouds. She took her first sip, and her face lit up. "This is the best cocoa ever." "Glad you like it, champ," Mike said, nudging Jessica with his elbow, attempting to include her in their moment of happiness. But just as he expected Jessica to smile, he saw pain flicker across her face. The laughter of the cafe faded around them, replaced by a thick silence. "Mike, I can't keep this from you any longer," she said, her words rushed and strained, as if she had built a dam that was about to break. "What do you mean?" he asked, a knot tightening in his throat. "When I received that text it was about our family." "About Lily? About what?" "Jess, please." Tears began to shimmer in her eyes, reflecting the warmth of the cafe but contrasting with the cold dread gnawing at Mike's core. "I've been worried about how she's been acting, and I'm scared." "Scared of what?" His voice increased slightly, a mix of fear and impatience. "Mike, I think Lily is hiding something. Something she feels she can't share with us, and I'm not sure how to help her." The world around them faded as his focus locked onto Jessica. "What do you mean hiding something? Is she in trouble? What did you do?" Lily suddenly chimed in, her tone cheerful, oblivious to the seriousness tightening around her parents. "Can we go to the park after this? I want to swing." Mike's heart sank deeper. He looked at Jessica, who seemed to be fighting back tears. "We need to do something right away," he said, but inside, he felt paralyzed, torn between his instinct to protect Lily and the unsettling realization that there might be rifts within their family that he had never seen. Was this the moment everything shattered? Or could it be the turning point toward healing? Outside, the night deepened, and an electric chill ran through Mike. Just how far did the truth go? Mike glanced at the clock on the wall, its gentle ticking seeming to mock him as he felt the weight of uncertainty settle heavily on his shoulders. The cafe buzzed with activity, but he could hardly hear over the pounding of his heart. "Let's just finish our drinks and head to the park," Jessica suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. "Right," he replied, his gaze shifting back to Lily, who was blissfully unaware as she slurped her cocoa, blissfully lost in her own little world. The marshmallows danced with each sip, and for that moment, she looked like a picture of happiness. "Sweetheart, can you tell us why you wanted to go to the park?" Mike asked, forcing himself to sound relaxed, though his insides churned. Lily looked up, a smudge of cocoa on her cheeks. "I want to fly high on the swings. Can you both push me? I love it when we all play together." Her enthusiasm was infectious, but it felt like a fragile bubble just waiting to burst. Mike exchanged a glance with Jessica. Was this a distraction for Lily? Or was she really just a kid eager for some fun? He wanted to savor this moment, but the shadows of anxiety lurked in the corners of his mind. Jessica fidgeted with her napkin, tracing the edges with her fingers. "Lily, honey, is there anything else you want to do at the park?" Her voice was soft, careful. "Nope." Lily beamed, her innocence blissfully intact. "Just swings. And maybe we can have a picnic with peanut butter sandwiches." "Peanut butter sandwiches it is," Mike agreed, trying to mask the knot in his stomach. "After that, we can fly kites." Lily's eyes sparkled as she envisioned their afternoon filled with joy and laughter, unaware of the tension that pulsed beneath the surface. "Sure," Mike said, forcing a smile. "We can get kites too." But in the back of his mind, he knew that the reality of their family was more complicated than a simple day in the park. Jessica leaned forward, her voice trembling just enough that he felt it in the pit of his stomach. "Mike, I don't want to ruin this day, but we need to talk about what I saw on Lily's tablet. Her messages, some of them really scared me." His heart dropped. What had he been too blind to see? But before he had the chance to respond, Lily jumped up, tugging at his sleeve. "Come on, Dad. Let us go." She squealed, her excitement like a magnet pulling them in. Her joy was a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside him. He nodded and stood, following her lead, but he felt disjointed, like a puppet with tangled strings. As they stepped outside into the crisp evening air, Mike took a deep breath, preparing himself for the impending conversation. The weight of Jessica's words hung heavy in the air. He glanced at Lily, swinging her backpack with glee, and he felt a pang in his chest. "Jessica, can we talk?" he asked, his voice low but firm. "Sure," she replied hesitantly, not quite meeting his eyes. "After the park?" He searched her face, desperate for reassurance, aware that they were about to enter into a delicate territory, one he wasn't sure they were ready for. "Okay," she nodded, swallowing hard. As they began walking, the world around them blurred. The cacophony of voices faded, drawing them into a bubble of uncertainty. What would they uncover when they finally confronted the truth? And at that moment, Mike couldn't shake the thought, was the innocence of their little girl slipping away, just as the shadows began to creep in? He clutched Lily's hand tighter, unwilling to let go, but what awaited them on the other side of their day at the park? The park was a swirl of colors and sounds. Children darted around, laughter ringing out like sweet music. Mike felt the cool breeze caress his face, but there was no relief. Each joyful shriek from nearby kids felt like a reminder of what could be at stake. Lily tugged at his hand, pulling him towards the swings, her excited giggles intertwining with the chatter around them. "Dad. Push me higher." He put on a smile, pushing her gently, watching her fly up into the air, her small feet kicking out into the sky. Every time she soared, something inside him pulled taut, as if he was trying to hold on to the innocence of that moment. "Higher," she squealed. Jessica stood nearby, her arms crossed protectively. She watched, but Mike could see the storm brewing in her eyes. "Mike," she said finally, stepping closer, "we can't put this off, we need to talk." He sighed, his shoulders slumping. "I know, but can we just enjoy this a little longer?" Lily soared, her hair streaming out behind her like a flag, completely oblivious. For that second, everything seemed fine, and Mike wanted to hold on to that feeling. "Just a few more minutes," he replied almost pleadingly, desperate to shield Lily from whatever storm they were facing. "Okay," Jessica relented, letting the moment linger. She turned to watch Lily, her expression softening momentarily. She's so happy. Mike felt a flicker of hope. If they could just make it through the day, maybe they could tackle whatever lay ahead. Yet, deep down, that feeling was marred by unease. Jessica had seen something that troubled her. Children didn't just send alarming messages, something else was lurking beneath the surface. When Lily's fun finally came to an end, she hopped off the swing, her cheeks flushed in a grin that could light up a room. "Can we have those peanut butter sandwiches now?" Mike and Jessica exchanged looks, unspoken fears swirling in the air between them. "Sure, honey," he said, forcing a genuine smile as he ruffled her hair. He took Jessica by the arm, guiding her to a nearby picnic table. Wanting some distance from the joy they had just shared, they spread out the blanket and pulled out the sandwiches. Lily dug in, her happiness radiant as she munched away. "Okay," Jessica said, her voice barely above a whisper, "I can't hold it in anymore." "You need to see these messages, Mike." His stomach nodded at her words. "What kind of messages?" She hesitated, taking a deep breath. "Things she shouldn't have to deal with at her age. Some kids have been saying stuff I can't ignore." Her eyes brimmed with concern. "I don't want to believe it," but pain shot through him. He watched Lily, oblivious to the adult fears around her. "I should have been more vigilant," he muttered, shame creeping in. "How did I let this happen?" "Together. We'll handle it together," Jessica said, her voice firm. "But we can't keep pretending everything is fine." Lily looked up from her sandwich, her eyes bright and innocent. "What's wrong, Mommy? Why are you both being quiet?" "No, nothing's wrong, sweetheart," Mike said quickly, his heart splintering. "Just grown-up stuff." But as he took in his daughter's trusting smile, the little girl enjoying her peanut butter sandwich, he felt the weight of their impending conversation settle deeper. They needed to figure this out. They couldn't keep hiding from the truth, but was he ready for what they might find? As they finished their meal, Mike felt a mix of dread and determination. What were the messages that had frightened Jessica so? And could they protect Lily from the realities that threatened to intrude on her simple joy? The afternoon sun sank a little lower, casting long shadows that reached just a bit too close. Mike's stomach twisted as Jessica pulled her phone from her pocket, the light from the screen illuminating her worried expression. "I need you to see this," she said, the tremor in her voice piercing through the cheerful chatter surrounding them. Lily, blissfully unaware, continued munching on her sandwich, her happy hum mingling with the sounds of children playing and parents chatting. It felt surreal, like the world had segmented into two distinct realities, one where she was just a carefree little girl and another where the adults around her were confronting shadows. With a gentle hand, Jessica held the device out, her heart racing. The messages on the screen were more than just words. The cruel taunts of children were raw and unfiltered, filled with things no child should ever have to hear. Mike's breath hitched in his throat. "They're saying this to her?" "Yes," Jessica replied, her eyes glistening. "It's been happening for weeks. At first, I didn't want to believe it, but now." She shook her head, frustration and fear painted across her features. Mike felt like he had been punched in the gut. The innocence of their playground paradise seemed distant, shattered by the harsh reality staring back at him. "Why didn't we know? How could this have slipped by us?" Jessica leaned in closer, her voice hushed but urgent. "I've been watching her, Mike. The changes in Lily, she's been quieter. Not herself. I thought maybe it was just a phase, but this." Her voice cracked, trailing off. What do we do? He asked, panic creeping in as he searched her eyes for something, a plan, a solution, anything to make it better. We have to talk to her. We have to figure out what's really happening. If she's okay and if she's not. Jessica steeled herself, a mixture of determination and despair in her eyes. Mike nodded, the weight of their decision pressing down on him. There was no hiding behind smiles or moments of joy anymore. He needed to reach out to Lily before the darkness they had been oblivious to could steal her light. You're right. We'll figure this out together. Lily looked up at them, her innocent face illuminated by the warming glow of the setting sun. Can we go to the ice cream shop after this? The hope in her tone was contagious, prompting a smile from both parents, but it was laced with a bittersweet edge. Of course, sweetie, Mike replied, forcing his voice to be light even as his heart sank. Ice cream sounds great. The playful atmosphere seemed almost mocking as they packed up their picnic, the fragrance of fresh air mingling with the remnants of fear that lingered in the back of Mike's mind. The ice cream shop was close enough that Lily's laughter echoed down the pathway, each giggle amplifying the dread they were both feeling. As they approached the shop, Mike paused, catching a glimpse of how each scoop of ice cream could represent a joyful escape, a promise of comfort for Lily. But worry knotted his heart tighter with every step. Jessica, what if she doesn't want to talk? What if she doesn't understand? Jessica's hand found his, squeezing tightly. We'll make her understand. The most important thing is that she knows she can talk to us. She's not alone. And there it was, his anchor, the strength that tethered him to hope amidst the storm. But deep down, the unease lingered. What if they didn't get through to her? What if fear silenced her instead? As they entered the shop, the sweet aroma surrounded them, and Lily jumped excitedly in front of the colorful menu. But the joy in her oblivion felt heavier now, like the calm before a dangerous storm. Mike looked at Jessica, their eyes silently agreeing that they had to make this right. They had to protect her. Let's make this count, he whispered, a determination settling within him. But as the ice cream melted away in their hands, Mike couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was lurking just out of sight. Would their efforts be enough to shield Lily from the cruel realities of childhood? The shop door swung open, and Mike glanced back, catching a moment of innocence, a fleeting glance of a child somewhere in that park, unguarded and unaware. And then he remembered, Lily had a school friend whose words cut sharper than the rest. How much did his little girl really know? What was the truth hiding behind those blissful moments? With a resolve firming in him, he leaned closer to Jessica. Tomorrow, we talk to her. We dig deeper. But as they turned to find their daughter beaming at the cone in her hand, the question hung heavy in the air, would they be ready for what Lily might reveal? As they stepped out of the ice cream shop, the cool evening air wrapped around them like a comforting blanket, momentarily soothing the anxiety that had been building within Mike and Jessica. Lily bounced along the sidewalk, her joy infectious as she licked her ice cream, oblivious to the storm brewing within her parents. Daddy! Look at my ice cream. It's a mountain. She proclaimed, holding it up triumphantly. Mike couldn't help but smile, feeling a flicker of warmth in his heart. But in the back of his mind, he knew the sweetness of that moment was fragile. The weight of their conversation hung heavily over them, a reminder of the emotional tide rushing closer. Sweetie, he started, catching Jessica's gaze as they walked, we need to have a talk tonight about school and your friends. His voice was steady, but he felt his pulse quicken. Lily stopped in her tracks, her brows furrowed. Is it about the park? I want to go back there tomorrow. No, baby, Jessica interjected gently, kneeling down to meet Lily's wide eyes. It's about something important. We want to make sure you're okay and that you can always talk to us about anything. The last word hung in the air like a lantern in the dark, warm and glowing in contrast to the shadows swirling around. Okay, Lily said, though concern danced across her innocent face. Am I in trouble? Not at all. Mike rushed to reassure her, moving beside Jessica, their hands, a united front poised to protect their girl. As they reached their car, the sun melted into the horizon, painting the sky with purple and orange hues, a stunning backdrop that held the promise of a new beginning. They slipped into their seats, and for a brief moment, the warmth of the day wrapped around them. But as Mike glanced in the rearview mirror, the fleeting sweetness of Lily's excitement reminded him of the urgent reality. "Hey, after we talk, how about a little dance party at home?" he offered, desperate to shift the mood before diving into deeper waters. Lily's eyes sparkled again as she giggled. "Can I pick the songs?" "Absolutely," he smiled, feeling lighter at the thought of that spontaneous joy. Arriving home, the living room was filled with familiar comforts: a plush couch, family pictures lining the walls, and toys strewn across the floor. The very items that held laughter and warmth now seemed to echo with the fractures in their family. "Okay, let me set up the music," Mike said, hiding his uncertainty behind a broad smile as he navigated to the speaker system. Jessica made quick work of arranging a cozy spot on the floor, laying out their brightly colored blankets as if to create a safe haven. "Lily, why don't you choose a couple of songs?" Jessica suggested, kneeling beside their daughter, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. Lily bounced over to the speaker, rapidly scrolling through her playlists. "This one," she shouted, selecting a catchy tune that filled the room with lively rhythm. As the music played, both Mike and Jessica watched their daughter twirl to the beat, her laughter washing over them. For a moment, it felt as though everything could be fixed through joy. But as they danced, Mike sensed the shifting atmosphere, a quiet tension that threatened to burst. He caught Jessica's concerned gaze. They both understood that avoiding reality would only prolong their struggle. "Hey, can we pause the music for a second?" Mike asked, his voice calm but serious. Radar-like, Lily tilted her head, sensing the weight of their words. The music faded, replaced by an electric stillness that settled over them like a blanket. "Lily," Jessica began, her voice steady yet tinged with vulnerability, "we love you more than anything in the world. And we want you to be happy. But sometimes adults get worried about things you might not understand. Like, people saying hurtful things at school." Lily's face clouded with confusion, her innocence hanging in the air. "What do you mean?" Mike and Jessica exchanged pained glances before he reached for Lily's hands, holding them tight. "We're here for you, sweetheart. We just want to make sure you can share anything you might be feeling. It's important to talk about school and your friends, no matter how scary it might seem." After a long pause, Lily finally whispered, "Some kids, they say mean stuff, but it's okay. I just ignore it." His heart broke as he registered the weight of her words, mingling fear and frustration deep within him. "Ignoring it is a strong choice, honey. But you shouldn't have to face it alone. If anyone is mean, you can tell us. We can help." Lily's resolve faltered beneath their probing gaze. After a moment's silence, she finally revealed, "Sometimes, they say I'm not good enough to play with them. They say I'm a baby because I like pink." Jessica's breath hitched. In that moment, the truth was laid bare, the words cutting deeper than they ever imagined. "Oh, Lily," Jessica pulled her daughter into a protective embrace as tears slipped down her cheeks. "You are so much more than what they say. You are unique and beautiful, just as you are." Mike knelt beside them. "And it's not okay for anyone to make you feel less than that. You're perfect just the way you are." They held her tightly, the trio creating an unbreakable bond as Lily quivered in their arms. "Promise?" she asked, the innocence of her soul asking not just for reassurances but for the strength of her family to mend what felt broken. "Promise," they both said in unison, words filled with the unshakable love and commitment to make it right. As their dance party resumed, the music now felt different, each note vibrating with hope, love, and the promise of tomorrow. They danced not only to a song but to a new rhythm, a rhythm of understanding, openness, and connection that would guide them through even the darkest nights. Underneath the colorful lights of their living room, there was a sense of awakening. They would overcome this challenge together, not as individuals hiding their fears, but as a united family, their hearts beating in harmony, standing against the shadows that threatened to tear them apart. This was their moment. Together, walking into the light, they would forge a new path forward. Now, don't let this moment slip away. You need to subscribe now to catch all our exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support for our journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and comment with your reactions and feelings about this transformative ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with 5 friends who need to see the power of family and honesty. Your support means the world.